Wisdom Wednesday. My name is Kristen Gear. I am the Director of Operations for BNI Arizona, and every week I come to providing a weekly education nugget called Wisdom Wednesday that counts as one chapter education for watching. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's edition. We've got a lot to cover today. So we are still in extravaganza, guys. We have a few days left. So the cutoff day is May 31st for applications to come in. We will still allow a couple weeks for everything to process because we have a lot of pending applications. So we are just waiting. We'll give out like the final notification for extravaganza 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we'll have all the drawings for the cruise and all of that fun stuff. So stay tuned for that. But you guys need to make sure that you're reaching out to visitors and making sure that they at least get their application in by the 31st if they are interested in the next step, so that way they qualify for extravaganza. Now, we'll still accept them afterwards. They just won't necessarily be a part of extravaganza, which is okay. It's okay. So if you want them to be a part of extravaganza, make sure that their application gets in by May 31st. 2 days, guys. 2 days. All right. Sweet. In addition to that, it's the end of the month. So I get this question a lot. So I wanted to make sure to continue to remind you guys how the Palms Report works. So how it works and when things cut off for the month, it does not depend on the day of the month, and like the last day of the month, and it is not based on when the Vice President submits the Palms Report. Those are the two things. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is when your specific chapter's meeting ends, when the last active meeting for your chapter is. The last active meeting. So for the chapters, we had a few that took off this week because they backed right up to Memorial Day holiday. If that is you, then your month ended last week because it was the last active meeting of the week. And to be even more specific, it depends when your meeting time ends. So not only the last active meeting of the month, but specifically of the time. So if your chapter meets from 9 to 10:30 on that last active meeting of the month, 10:30 is the cutoff time. It's not the end of the day. It's not like it is 10:30. The system automatically cuts off the numbers when your chapter's published meeting time ends. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that, because I get a lot of questions thinking that it's the end of the month, or vice presidents wait to submit the Palms Report because they want to get as many numbers in as possible, but the numbers automatically stop when the meeting time ends. Anything submitted after the meeting automatically goes to the next day. Automatically. So the system knows what time your meeting ends. So if you submit it at 10:31, if your meeting ends at 10:30, it's automatically going to count that activity towards the next active meeting in the system. So I want to make sure everyone is crystal clear on how the Palms Report works and how it's reporting. And when your vice presidents report the numbers in the chapter, it's always a week behind, which also confuses people because they're like, I submitted information, but that information would, in essence, be counted for the next week's report. So it's always a week behind, and it's always based off of the exact time your specific chapter ends. Sweet. All right. I'm glad everyone's on the same page now, right? But today I wanted to cover, since we have a lot of new members in our chapters, I wanted to cover over some of the most important general policies that we have. Did you know we have 11 policies, and they have transformed over time? So it's always good to remind yourself of what those policies are, especially if you're a seasoned member. I don't want to say old member, but if you're a seasoned member like me, it's always good to kind of refresh yourself on the updates, because we used to have a lot more and they've transitioned and all of that fun stuff. I'm not going to cover over all 11 of them today, but I think there's a few key ones, and especially ones that I get questions about the most. So biggest thing, so number one is only one person from each BNI classification can join a chapter of BNI, because one person per profession, right? And each member can only hold one BNI classification in a BNI chapter. So if you're in a chapter, you can only represent one profession, which is why I know that many of the members represent multiple things, but you can only represent one of those things inside your BNI chapter. And one of the things that I get questions on the most is if someone can join a second chapter and represent the second opportunity that they have. That specific member can only be a member of one chapter, but great news is they can have different representatives in different chapters. So if you have multiple people working for you, you can put a different representative in a different chapter to represent the other aspect of your business if you wanted to do that, or it could be the same aspect of the business. So one company can be in multiple chapters, but the same person can only be in one BNI chapter. And the reason being is we are all about accountability around passing referrals and activity and building relationships. And so if a member is in multiple chapters, that lessens the amount of referrals from that specific member to the members of the chapter. So that's why we have that in place. The next one that I get questions on a lot is, let's see, which one was it? Visitors may attend BNI chapter meetings up to 2 times. 2 times, guys. 2 times. So one of the biggest things with this is once a visitor has visited twice, the way that they can attend more is if they submit an application. So once they submit an application, they can keep coming to the meetings and representing their business until a decision is made on that application. But the limit is 2. If you're a member visiting other chapters, you can only give your presentation 2 times per BNI year. BNI year starts when? October 1st through the end of September. So you can give your presentation 2 times if your category is covered. If you're wanting to visit another chapter and your category is already covered in all of the chapters, especially if you represent one of the most popular professions, you can still go and visit other chapters, just represent your chapter instead of representing your business, which in turn could get you more visibility if people then visited your chapter. Now, the etiquette with this, guys, if you are going to a chapter meeting and you're representing your chapter, do not poach visitors from that chapter. Their members spent a lot of hard work and time and energy inviting those visitors to that chapter. Now, if the visitor's category is already taken in that chapter, that's different. But no poaching, guys. No poaching of visitors, and definitely no poaching of members. I'm watching you guys. No poaching. Either one. Either one. Just knock it off. It's not okay. So, you want to use BNI etiquette at the same time, guys. Or, yeah. Let's just make sure we do that. All right. Next is an individual can only be a member of one BNI chapter. That was part of it, but that I already covered. This is number 4 of the policies, but a member cannot be in any other program that holds members accountable to past referrals. So a lot of times with what this looks like is if there's another organization that is similar to BNI, usually the ones that are one person per profession, where the whole purpose is to pass referrals. If there's accountability around the passing of referrals, that is against the policies. So we do encourage members to be a part of different groups as long as it just doesn't compete with BNI. The biggest thing, again, as I mentioned earlier, is the responsibility and the accountability around passing more referrals to the members of your chapter. If you're in multiple groups that are like BNI, it waters down the effects of the BNI chapter. So you want to be mindful of making sure that you're only a part of one exclusive group like BNI that holds its members accountable to past referrals. That's a big, big thing. And last one that I wanted to cover today, where did it go? Oh, this is a big one. So all BNI membership lists are for the purpose of giving referrals only, guys. This is number 11. Before sending any marketing or business solicitation communication to BNI members outside your chapter or director consultants, the recipient must give their consent. Consent must be freely given, specific, informed, and unambiguous. So, make sure that you are not putting members, visitors, directors on any email marketing campaigns without their consent. That's a real big thing. And chapters, on the flip side, when you have your golden tickets, I do encourage chapters not to include emails, only because when a visitor takes that sheet, even though we may say in the chapter meeting, do not spam our members, do not add them to email marketing lists, it still happens. So if we don't have the email addresses on there, it does lessen the opportunity for visitors to spam all of the members. And so we just want to be mindful of that. Make sure that we're not spamming each other when you're reaching out to other members and wanting to build relationships, because that's one of our core values, is building relationships. We want to make sure that we are super mindful of when we're reaching out, and our intention is to build relationships, not to grow our business, but to build relationships. Especially in one-to-ones. When you're having the one-to-ones, it's not to sell to each other, it's to sell through each other. That's the same with our weekly presentations and the weekly meetings. It's all about education, education, education. Referrals between each other will happen organically. You don't have to sell to everyone. Everyone is your sales team, guys. You want to collaborate with each other to make sure that you're building those relationships to the next level. So make sure that we are not adding people to spamming lists. So I covered one person per profession. Each member can only be in one chapter. We covered making sure that visitors 2 times, guys, and BNI members 2 times. You can give your presentation in another chapter per BNI year, with representing and being a part of other networking organizations. Totally amazing and totally fine, as long as they don't hold members accountable for passing referrals. And of course, no spamming each other. If you have any questions about any of this information, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's edition of Wisdom Wednesday. And as always, log off and log 1 chapter education for watching. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next week.